Hey, love. Welcome to No Matcha, No Mama, the podcast where we pour a little matcha and a whole lot of truth. Every week, I sit with someone I admire, founders, healers, creatives, and friends, and we share a matcha I've crafted just for them. Everything here is intentional. The ingredients in your cup, the energy that we bring, the stories that we open. But this is more than just a podcast. It's a space for feeling seen, understood, and reminded that whatever you are walking through, you are not walking through it alone. At its heart, the show is about exploring how we can truly thrive through all the mess and magic of being human. There's also space to explore the evolving world of longevity and aging well, from new discoveries, treatments, and practices that actually make a difference in our lives so that we can keep showing up for ourselves, our families, and our communities, while remembering that we are all figuring it out as we go. And here we start with matcha, because how we start matters. So today I am sitting down with Christina Lee. She's the founder of Graceful Spaces. Christina's work is about organizing homes that support real families, not just in how the home looks, but in how it functions day to day. So she's a mom. She's navigated some really difficult challenges and health issues that required a lot of care and intention, and her approach to organizing reflects that reality. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of picking your brain apart on how you got here, how you created Graceful Spaces, and how all of those things have influenced how you show up today. So thank you so much for being here.
It's such a privilege to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And love that so much of our story has resonated already. So
yeah,
excited to chat.
Yes. So matcha, I made you a matcha.
Thank you.
It's with my pistachio coconut cashew milk. And
it is delicious.
Thank you.
So
I know
good.
it's not, it doesn't have the honey, but.
No, it's beautiful. Sometimes without the honey, it just allows it to spark a little more. So I love it. Thank you so much for making it.
Of course. Matcha is my ritual. I was wondering, what is something that you do to start your day that really feels impactful or that grounds you?
Yeah, you know what? This has changed so much season to season. There's been periods of my life where I've had more time, and that has been maybe more of a bigger ritual. And then other times, like when the babies were born, that it was a smaller ritual, or when I was going through healing versus when Graham was going through healing. So it's always changing. But intentionally choosing season to season, trying to find that one thing that resonates, has been things like taking a bath, or it's been having a quiet time in the morning. Since we moved most recently, it has been just having quiet time in the morning, just like a meditation time, and journaling. But we recently got a puppy, and so things changed again.
Yes.
And so now it looks a little different, where I don't have as much time to sit down. So now it's being outside a lot because we have a lot of potty breaks. But I've started memorizing Bible verses, and that has given me an opportunity to meditate while I'm outside.
That's
good.
And
so it always changes. And I find like that's just part of life. And like, I try to get one thing, but when I try to attach myself to one thing, then I get frustrated if I don't get to the one thing.
Yeah.
So, I've started to realize season by season, intentionally choosing, and we're getting ready to move, and the puppy's getting older. So
you're moving again? How long ago did you move?
Yeah, well, we moved. So we're from Austin, Texas, and that's where we founded the business. My co-founder and co-founder and best friend, Rebecca, and I started the business almost 10 years ago. 4 years ago, my family moved to Charleston, and we had Graceful Spaces there for a little bit.
Got it.
And then we moved back in August.
Okay.
And have been doing a temporary situation, kind of getting settled and acclimating. It was a big move. Every time we move across the country, it just seemed to get harder. So we said, we'll sit here, settle. And so on Saturday, the movers come to move us into a real house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes, very excited. With a puppy and all of the stuff.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Well, for anyone who's new to you, I want you to share a little bit, if you're open, I want you to share a little bit about your background, including your wellness journey and how all of that brought you to where you are today and like the founding of Graceful Spaces.
Well, it's going to age me to tell you all the things.
No, just
but
whatever you want to share.
I started out, my husband and I got married when we were somewhat young, 23, 24-ish. And shortly after that, was diagnosed with Hashimoto autoimmune disease. So it was probably my first dive into like, okay, I have to take wellness seriously, food and what I put in my body. So that became my journey. I was vegan for almost 10 years and that was super healing for me. And then I got pregnant and that was a whole story in of itself. Many doctors saying you could never get pregnant.
My gosh.
And then I did. And I do credit a lot of that to the change in my health and the change in how I approached what food I was eating and what I was doing with my time. And also just emotional healing too, that I was focusing on. And so I got pregnant with Nora and then got pregnant with Addie right away.
So you have 2 kids?
I have 2 girls.
Oh, yep. So you got pregnant twice when they told you couldn't have any babies.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. 3 different doctors had told us, you won't get pregnant. It was before Graham and I were married. I remember sitting down.
Did they tell you why?
Yeah, it was all, I can't remember all the details now, but it had a lot to do with.
You blocked it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It had a lot to do with, female issues and things like that. But I do think that, I was having a lot of stomach pain, autoimmune issues and things. And I think the female issues were kind of solved as a byproduct of the more immediate issues that were happening because of just swelling that I was having and pain that I was having. And so that was kind of our first step into it. But then, so I had Nora and that was right away. I was like, oh, I don't know that I could keep up being vegan and having a baby. So enter some protein and all of that. And then I had Adeline 53 weeks later. So they are 1 year, 1 week, and 1 day apart.
That must have been rough on your body.
So, yep, it was really rough. And that is when I started learning about acupuncture and herbs and ways to heal your body, in addition to just rest and things like that. But sometimes rest isn't actually a possibility when your body is in fight or flight mode and when you just logistically don't have as much time to truly rest and recover. So that's when I started my journey in understanding how acupuncture and healers and herbalists and all of that could start helping me. And I think that was my first introduction to understanding, trauma and how you have to really actively step out of that fight or flight, that it's so good for the times you need it. And so then, but I did carry some postpartum depression and anxiety after that. And so worked through all of that. And then
what did you do to work through that?
Acupuncture has always been like one of the most important things for me. I just think it has always helped my body learn the new normal. And I remember that was a big part.
Helps your nervous system. It really helps to calm it.
I think and a big lesson that I've learned that I almost probably overpreach and also just carry with me through everything is your body learns quote unquote normal and has to learn a new normal. So my old normal that I had pre-kids was no longer what my body felt was normal. My body felt like anxiety and stress and fight or flight was normal. And so I had to retrain myself, calmness and lightness. And so just peace. And so I use acupuncture. I also went to a beautiful place called Alive and Well, where they had like float tanks and they had some cool, it was like a spa with wellness. So I would do IV therapy and they had just really great places where you could actively heal. And so I did that one Saturday a month as a part of what with Graham and I decided would be really beneficial to step away from, the obligations and things that I had going on in life. So, and then when the girls were like 3 and 4, I was on a girls trip and all my friends were entrepreneurs. And I had done that previously in a former life back in Charlotte when I owned an event planning business. And they're like, you should start a business. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That was so much. I have 2 little girls and I came back and Rebecca and I had met maybe a month or so earlier. She moved to Austin from New York. And she was kind of exploring like, what does God have next for me? And journaling and all of this. And so I came back and she said, how was your trip? And I was like, oh, it's crazy. They want me to be an organizer. They said I should start an organizing business.
Who did?
My friends that were on this trip, the entrepreneurs are like, you should start this business. And she was asking me about the trip. And I was like, it's crazy. I'm not doing that. She's like, well, crazy enough. This morning I was prayer journaling and I got to organizing, professional organizing. So the fact that you're sitting here and saying that they're telling you should go into organizing and I'm writing and journaling, like maybe we could talk about this. And
weird.
So we talked about it a little bit and I went home and I remember talking to Graham, my husband, and he's like, I think it's great. I think we don't know the Yodites very well. And so it'll be just a really great place for you to put some time and, just kind of a side thing. And then fast forward 10 years later, we are no longer just passive friends. Like Rebecca and her family and I, we are family, and the business has been here for 10 years and it's become something we never thought it could. So that was a pretty crazy thing. And then we started 2017, COVID hit 2020. And so having a in-home service with a pandemic was also kind of a big event in our life, learning what that looks like with navigating different challenges and different expectations from clients, from team, and how do you care for everyone?
Was it booming during COVID? I feel like people were like inside and they like wanted their homes to be.
It was, but it was
organized.
It was a little bit. Traumatic's a dramatic word for it, but it was a little crazy because everyone had a different thought on what level of involvement they wanted you to have in their home and what was safe, and for our team members, what was safe. So it was a weird time to navigate. We had a couple travel projects was also unique, and so it was a time that we learned a lot and grew a lot for sure. And then fast forward to, that was 2020. And then we moved to Charleston in 2022. In 2023, my husband Graham was diagnosed with an incurable rare blood cancer called multiple myeloma.
Incurable?
Right. So he'll have it. They're working actively toward a cure, but currently it'll be something that he will have. So
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but you know what? It's taught us a lot. It was definitely one of those milestone events. So we've had quite a few milestones in life that have led up to just a full passion for intentionality, a full passion for finding joy no matter what, and a full passion for balancing life and finding the healthiest way to live while still making sure you're living without being obsessive about anything.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
It's an ever-changing thing, and that's why I was saying when you asked about the routines, for me, it's about seasons and taking a look at each season that you're in and really choosing what is going to be the most beneficial. And what am I being called to do? I think that as a woman, I know that the hero mentality is easy to kind of come into play, especially if there are seasons where we do get to play a little more of an influential role in people's lives. Then when we move to a season where we're maybe called to be a little quieter, it can be challenging. And so I have found that sitting down and looking and saying, okay, what are the things that are in my life right now? What am I being called to? What are the true obligations that I have? And then what else do I need to do to either fill myself up or put myself out there? And it changes. So that also changes for me with what it looks like.
Kudos to you, because that's really important to understand about yourself. But I also think it's a good point to mention to other people is that sometimes what we're going through doesn't allow for certain rituals. And so it's okay to change your ritual and figure out something else that at least fills up your cup. Like if you can't get to meditation in the morning because you get woken up, find something different that at least helps you ground. Yes. Can be journaling for a few minutes later on, whatever it is. But you can't get so fixated on like needing to do that same thing every single morning because sometimes you can't.
And you'll feel so defeated. And that's the opposite of what we're trying to do with something that's supposed to fill you up. Yeah. So years and years ago when I was still working on site at organizing projects, Rebecca and I came up with this triple A's, adopt, adjust, abandon. So we would be able to talk to people about what do we need to adopt, what do we need to adjust, and what do we need to abandon. And I've started applying that to my life. When we got the puppy, the triple A's came up again, like, okay, we have a puppy. What we were doing before is not working. This is chaotic. But I also don't want to just let this take over my life. So we sat down as a family and said, what are some habits and routines that we need to adopt because we have this new thing? What are some things we need to adjust? And what do we just have to abandon in this season? And I think all are really important. Adopting new things is important. Adjusting what we thought we always should do is really important. And sometimes abandoning and saying, it's just not working. Even though it was such a great routine before. It's just not working anymore. Yeah. So, and I think that was the example of like in the morning, I would have my quiet time and open my Bible and journal and meditate and all this. But then the puppy came and there's no time. She's like chewing on my shoes as that's happening.
Also, she needs to pee probably every 20 minutes and she's waking up at night and like needing to be let out. Yeah.
So I had the adjustment of like, this means something to me. I don't want to let it go. What could be an alternative way to achieve the same meaningful connection? So anyway, I found that to be true with home organizing, how we run our lives, how we run our homes, how we run our business. businesses.
It sounds very organized because you're like going to your family and talking about like what you need to do. Like, these are the different things. Like, how do we implement these? It's like a system.
I'm an over communicator and an over systematizer for sure. But
that bodes well for your work, though.
It does. Yes. And if it goes well for running a company most of the time. So
what have you found the most supportive thing to managing your autoimmune condition, whether that's like lifestyle changes, alternative modalities, etc., aside from acupuncture?
Yeah, acupuncture. I mean,
aside from that,
I'm
is there
a huge
other
fan of acupuncture? Herbs. When I'm taking the balance of herbs, and I've listened to some of your podcasts, and you talked about they have specific ways of just determining what your body needs at different times, and so I've always felt that helpful. And I'll catch it, like it'll flare up, and I'll start feeling anxiety, and I'll start feeling inflammation, and it's always so funny to me. I'm like, oh, I just gotta go take my herbs again, and I'll be better. I'll get back into a healthier place. But exercise, doing the green juices, water, sometimes the basic things are the things we forget to do that really are the most supportive.
What about your husband? How did his lifestyle change when he was diagnosed? Like, what are the things that he implemented?
Gosh, you know what? This is a really good conversation and a really big one, because there are a million things that come at you. And whether you're diagnosed with cancer or autoimmune, or you get pregnant, or you even get a puppy, you were just inundated with all of these lists of things you should do. And if you don't do, the whole world will fall apart, And so it can be really, really overwhelming. So I will tell you that we had to learn to approach this whole thing from a really balanced place. And I can't say that we always still do, because it's still emotional. It's still scary at times, but we kind of came up with a system again of what we do. And I can tell you some of the things we've done, but I think it's important before I list all these things that we did. Our approach was that we would go month to month. We would choose one big change, one thing that was going to be disruptive in our life. That would change habits, that would change our morning routine, whatever. We would choose one small thing, like, oh, we can implement that, not a big deal. So, like working out for a longer period of time. That takes more intention, that takes more thought, but maybe doing like a castor oil pack at night takes maybe another 2 minutes. So those are and then we would do one big investment, like reverse osmosis, and one small investment. And I'm blanking on what a small investment, but so that's how we approached this laundry list of things that were coming at us that, all felt insanely important and we had to do. But it had its phases. When he was first going through treatments, that's a whole separate world. But when he came out of treatments and we started looking at how do we live in a way that's supportive, it came from eliminating we don't really eat a lot of processed foods, but then it really got into how often are we eating out? Where are we eating out if we do? But then cooking at home the majority of the time, and then making sure that we were kind of leveling up our game to not just cook clean, but then to add in the things that were supportive of his body. So like microgreens, broccoli sprouts, ginger, turmeric, dandelion tea, all of these things. So it's not just about elimination, but about
incorporation.
Exactly. So it was food, it was supplements, and making sure that we were researching the right supplements. It was spiritual. Graham has, in the last couple of years, joined 2 men's Bible studies, which I think have made a huge impact in his approach to life and family. And he's always been an incredible person. Everyone who knows Graham will say he is the ultimate friend, ultimate son, ultimate spouse, ultimate dad, always. But I think for him to carry that weight of being that ultimate, the ultimate superhero, it's a lot. It is. And even at work, people would say favorite person to work with. So I think, and he can speak to that. I can't actually speak to it. What I can say is I see a different output from this ability to be vulnerable, to hear from other people, which is kind of what you're putting out in the world, like a safe place for people to say, this is hard, or I'm scared. And there's not a lot of places that men particularly can say that, much less, everybody, but are much less men. So spiritually, and then he started exercising a lot. He had been someone who, had that blessing of just like looking at a weight somewhere around beach season and kind of buffing up. I did not have that, but this was the calling to like, this isn't just about looks. This is about health and your body's ability to know it's needed, and sitting too long in front of a computer is sending a message to your body that it's not needed. And
how can you support it to heal itself?
Exactly. So exercise, and then food, supplement, exercise, spiritual.
What about mindset?
Mindset, yes. He's read a lot of great books. The book that he likes the most is Hope for Cancer, and he listens to it while he's reading. And I think this is a great example. He's not a big reader, but a great example of choosing an intention and then figuring out how to make it work. So, and adopting until it works. So he's like, I need to read, sits down to read a book. That's not going to work. Adopts and adjusts to, all right, I need to listen. I don't have time to listen. At that point, he worked from home. He's like, when am I going to listen? And then he's like, I'm going to do it when I start running. I'm going to start running, and that's when I'll listen. And I loved that sequence of, it didn't go, I'm not a reader, I'll never be able to read these books. It was,
I'm not going to do it.
It was, well, I can try this. That's not working. What about this? That's not working. And actually, another thing that he and I have done has been to sit down on Sundays. When you say mindset, it can be consuming to talk about cancer. It is like the thing everybody wants to talk about. It's the thing that kind of sits at the forefront of your mind.
It's the white elephant in the room.
Yeah. And what we've decided to do is not make it that, not make it our life. And so on Sundays, Graham and I sit down and we have this really open time where he and I can just talk about what's on our mind, whether that's, hey, I think we need to get this routine in place, or here's something new I learned, or I'm scared about this. Can we talk about this? Or just laugh and have a good time and have tea and talk about the kids and talk about something funny that happened. And so I think that space has been really important. And it's a lot of what I've been adopting with Graceful Spaces, and that, creating a certain time to do the certain heavy things, especially the things that are heavy, helps you segment and not feel like you're carrying everything at once. I'm a huge time blocker. And so I've got days that I do leadership, I've got days that I do personal, and I've got days that I do entrepreneurial things, and I've got days to catch the rest of whatever fell. And that has helped me realize, like, I only have so much time. If it doesn't fall within this bucket. I need to do that.
I feel like I need to time block, because I'm just randomly doing things when they come onto my plate, and I'm like, this doesn't feel organized.
You can start to feel like you're constantly carrying the weight of the world all the time. And so that Sunday time block, as structured as it is, helps give this place where he and I can talk openly, but it's not coming at you we're not standing in the bedroom on Tuesday morning and he's like, hey, I thought I'd tell you about this thing I read. And then all of a sudden
you have a time to talk about things.
You go into it ready. And that's what I find with time blocking too.
Do you save things to talk about? Like if stuff comes up, you're like, no, I'm going to wait. And we're going to talk about this on Sunday. That's smart.
And I think a huge part of what I've learned in life is very few things are actually urgent. A lot of things are emotional.
Yes.
But not a lot of things are actually urgent
though. Because when you feel triggered and you want to talk about something in the moment, it's really powered and you're like, I want to talk about this right now. But that also doesn't always mean it's a good time to talk about it. Because when you and your spouse are both triggered in a moment, like I find that if I try to talk about things when my husband is triggered or something just happened with the kids, it's like the worst possible time to talk about it. Because then he gets mad at me.
Yeah. We learned this so many years ago. When we first got married, we went to like a marriage seminar. And the first time was, it's a marriage seminar. It's hard. But then we went again the next year. And what we found was, as we approached the time that was coming up to that second marriage seminar, we started realizing, we'd start to like get into the conversation. Then one of us would say, maybe we should save this for the seminar. And so then we started realizing we were making a list of things for that seminar. And so instead of getting into it at the moment, we were saving it. And then we got to the seminar, and more than 50% of the things were things that were just like, that worked itself out. Guess it wasn't as big of a deal as I thought.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Then it helped us to kind of funnel what was really important. It's like, I've been thinking about this for 3 months. Can we dive into this? Because that hasn't fizzled. And that has led to so many aha moments in my life, including at work. So at work, we have goal setting, but we call it our compass. So we know, like, this is our direction. It's not about pass or fail. But we set aside time to talk about it. And we have different intentions of what we talk about so that you're not constantly inundated of new ideas and, maybe we should course correct, or riding the wave of numbers are down, this isn't working. We have set times to truly evaluate, versus riding the emotion of, are you tired? Are you happy? Is the numbers, up or down? And so I think it's kind of carried into everything in life.
But I love that though, because it kind of makes me think like, if some of the things that I want to talk in the moment aren't that important. And so wait maybe to talk about them and then see if in a few days it's still something you think needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
Because like you said, a lot of the times it figured itself out anyways.
And I have to say, because my team, if they're listening, and Graham, if they're listening, will still... I have to acknowledge my mouth is a volcano. I am a very oral processor. So I'm not saying that I sit stoically and don't talk about things. But I just think it's so freeing to have a space when and you don't have to worry, am I going to get space for this? Am I going to have time to talk to that person about this?
Am I going to feel heard?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's by no means that I don't.
Of course, you're human.
Stuff.
We all explode.
But it's just so comforting.
I love that. I want to do that.
I think we've started doing it with the girls too. We have tea. I have tea with them Monday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And it's another place that they know they're going to be heard, they're going to be seen. And so they can bring up
stuff
anything.
That they need to talk about.
Yeah,
that's really cute.
Yeah, it's fun.
Do they like it?
Yeah, I think so. Some mornings are a little more chaotic than others, but
of course.
Yeah, it's really sweet. Sweet.
Talking about work, I think I want to shift into Graceful Spaces.
Yeah.
How did your health and wellness journey inform that you wanted to do that in a way? Like, how did your health and wellness journey inform the creation of Graceful Spaces?
No, I don't think it was health and wellness directed to Graceful Spaces.
But it is connected.
Oh, yeah. They were riding independently in my life and then merged. More formally when we opened up our service called Purely Organized and said it was after. So we had Graceful Spaces for a while. And then after Graham was diagnosed, and I felt this like, how do I do this? And even if I identify that I want to change their RO or I want to, bring these habits into my life, I got to decide what to buy. I've got to get them shipped. I've got to get them incorporated into my new system now. And so that's when we realized a lot of other people are in the same boat. So one of the services our company will do is help you determine what low toxic solutions you want to bring into your life. We can order it for you and then incorporate it, but also create the organization to support it.
That's great.
So that, you're set up for long-term success. So they merged at some point, but they kind of started separately.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's a great offering.
Yeah, it's really wonderful.
What are some of your philosophies behind Graceful Spaces? Can you just talk about what you guys do as a whole?
Yeah. And big philosophy is that we're firm believers of doing a space once and doing it right. Not to say you're not getting a refresh or anything, but a lot of times we see people do a drawer or a section of a room or a space, and then it doesn't stay. And then the system kind of falls apart and organization gets a bad rap with that person or their family. And what we have found is that when you take the time and investment of energy and resources and money and all that to do it right, it's sustainable. And that's when you start to see the true power and magic of the reduced stress and the given time back and things like that. So we, maybe a year or two in, started to realize that doing a small space was not really beneficial, or it wasn't what we were able to offer that was beneficial. And so we said, we got to do 3 spaces or more. So if we do your pantry, we've got to do your kitchen and probably your mudroom, because they're all intertwined together and you're using them interchangeably. And if we don't take into account what's in your pantry when we're organizing your kitchen, you're probably going to have leftover residual crust, back and forth. And so that was one of the things we learned was do it once, do it right, make the investment. But then we realized it is a big investment. And this is something that we have to stand behind. Another piece that we've learned is that when you love the way a space looks, you're more likely to keep it up. And so the design of it really matters. So it's not just about a DIY, finding some random bins. It's truly about creating a streamlined, beautiful visual space.
So you want to keep it that way.
You want to keep it that way, right. And it also indicates to your brain there's a system here right when you walk into the space, because you can visually see the calm, you can see the streamline. And so you're you just react to that by saying, okay, yep, I'm going to take that extra half step to put this back on a hanger or put this back in the bin that it belongs into. And then another philosophy we believe in very strongly is labeling. It's usually the step that everybody skips or will do kind of a halfway. And it's one of the biggest things to keep that system up and find the sustainability. And so we label a lot. And we invest in the custom vinyl labels. So it's, again, like really beautiful, really solid. And that all compounds on itself. So when you take the time to truly figure out your system, get that down, do all the spaces that support one another, and then you put in the supporting tools, the baskets, the drawer inserts, and then add the labels on top, you've got something that is going to be really, it has a lot of longevity and it can support a lot of different people, and it helps get everybody on the same page and helps you remember what the intention of this space was. So those are kind of the baselines of what we believe.
Yeah, I love
have
that.
Seen.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think that organizing just a drawer or something isn't going to accomplish much.
I know, and I hate to say that because it is a common question, and people always say, what's your one favorite organizing product? And I mean, I love a good stair basket. And I think that that is a really great way to introduce the concept of having a place to put things where, you know, it's not being left all over the house, but yet you still have the accountability for others to have to put their things away. And I think that's kind of a baby step into this idea that one person doesn't have to keep up with the house and one person doesn't have to be responsible for everything. But it's such a baby step. It's a good one, but it's a very big baby step in learning and to the greater, you know, idea that everybody can be involved in keeping up.
I mean, the problem is my children are very young, so like they can't really participate yet.
Yeah.
And my husband doesn't really.
You're so close though. They're 1 and 3.
Yeah.
So around 4, groceries, putting away laundry, like it is possible.
He's starting to want to help with things. Like he wants to wash the dishes and do all these things. Like we try to include him as much as possible.
Yeah.
He's just still a little bit young.
You're like right around the corner.
Close.
Yeah, you're so close. But his desire to want to do that is such a reflection of what you're teaching later, because it's different. Forcing someone to do something is never fun for anybody. But when we can start instilling, and enjoying that and telling him like that this means a lot that you wanted to do this. But I think what we see with families is that kids want to help. Everybody wants to be a part of a team. Everyone
Let them help.
Yeah, but it's hard to do if there's not a system. So if you can't give a clear direction, or they're like, I don't know, how do I put this away? It's hard for anyone to feel success. But when you create a system and you explain the system, then now there's a roadmap to success, just like anywhere, school, work, everywhere we go. If it's, hey, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I hope you do it. Here's the measurement. Good luck. That's not going to be as successful as here's the program, here's the curriculum, here's the process. You can set people up for success.
Yeah.
So we see that a lot.
Yeah. How did becoming a mom change the way you think about your home and space?
Efficiency and really where your time goes. I remember, I don't know why this stuck with me, but I remember when we lived in Charlotte and we lived in a condo, no kids, just had a little dog. I used to clean all the time. And my friends would like buy me these like little cleaning shoes that had scrubbers on the bottom. And they remember this one guy was like, how many times have you cleaned out that fridge? I'm like, I don't know, but it looks good, doesn't it? It was like my stress reliever.
Yeah.
And I never had to measure how effective I was or how efficient I was with it. And then you have kids and it becomes like, you got to get in and get out if you're going to clean something. You don't have time to make this a calming, rewarding ritual. And so
you want to get it done as quickly as possible because you have to get to the next thing.
Yes. So I think
which is sometimes laying down.
Right. Exactly. I think it helped me realize like it cannot be an ongoing thing. Like you've got to have a system. So like groceries are once a week, cleaning the kitchen, deep cleaning the kitchen is once a week, or wiping everything down is once a day. You cannot obsessively do it and keep up with everything perfectly once you have kids. But you can't also just let it go. So it helps me to start learning that all these systems, like when am I going to do X, Y, and Z? And that gave me a lot of mental freedom. It also gave me boundaries. So, I wasn't obsessive, but I also wasn't just giving up. So that was the first step. And then the next step was getting the kids involved and how does everybody get on the same, when they're able, getting them involved. And so I think those were two kind of introductions to.
I think that's a good one because I tend to like want to clean up the toys when the kids are asleep. And then I have to do it at the end of the day too, just because I want my place clean. I'm cleaning up. The problem is I have a glass dining room table. And after every meal, I need to clean it because it's literally gross. So I'm literally cleaning while people are still at the table. I was like, this needs to be clean. That's one thing I have to obsess over because I don't know what else to do. Like I can't sit down
that was
to different meals. You know what I mean?
We have a white table and I still feel like every meal it has to be
They're not having glass. Like that's, you see.
You got the underside of it too.
Yes. So I have to clean both. It's not fun. I go, Justin, I go to my husband. I don't want to get another glass table. He's like, but it's so easy to clean it. And I was like, you see
everything.
And I'm cleaning it like 5 times a day.
That one's a lot. maybe start with working on that being a chore that the kids could do. So
my son already wants to do that.
So
he loves cleaning too. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
When someone feels overwhelmed by their home, where should they start? Like what's one place to start?
Overwhelmed by the home. I mean, I think, like I said, it's hard to answer that question because I hate the weight of the fact that it's not just, I can't offer, hey, just go clean underneath your sink and all of a sudden your life will be better.
Well, I guess like if someone wants to start to organize their home and they can't hire, where should they start?
Yes.
That's a better question.
Well, and I think it's such a good one. And I just like to caveat it because I just don't want to tell someone something that's not true and have them feel like, wait a minute, I organized underneath the sink and now that didn't help. But I think
I get it.
It feels good. But that's kind of like what you asked me. It feels good like it used to feel good to organize my fridge and clean my fridge prior to kids, but it's not going to make that big impact on did it really lighten my load as much as the system of kind of setting a schedule. So I would say the first thing to do would be to maybe set some boundaries. Well, sorry, I'm hitting it from 2 different ways, but spaces to do first would be community spaces. In my opinion, kitchen, pantry, and laundry are spaces that everybody in your household uses. And when you can get everyone on the same page in especially kitchen and pantry, you're going to feel a lot more of that shared ownership. And suddenly you can feel a lot more like, hey, everyone's on the same page here. And I think that's really impactful. A lot of people think, well, what if you should do your primary closet because no one else touches that? So it'll be able to stay up better. What I have found is most people don't see that one through. It's very hard to fully organize your own primary closet. You get a lot of emotions sit back in there that you don't know about. And then you get like halfway through and you're like, oh, this is way better than it was. That's good. But you never get over the hump that makes it sustainable. So then you end up in the same old routines. And it's the same thing like what I was sharing when I learned about coming out of postpartum anxiety and depression. You got to learn a new normal and it's uncomfortable and you got to invest in it. So I find like in the primary closet, there's a lot of slip back to the old ways. So if you do a primary closet, you got to commit to the end. And that usually takes some support to get there. But kitchen and pantry are 2 really great places that you can start seeing some day-to-day success. You use it every day. It impacts you and impacts your family. So those would be the spaces that I would start with. But because we've found it hard to find, like if you go through the steps of organizing and figure out where you want everything and then choosing the right bins, baskets, and tools, and then you go through the process of labeling, that's a big commitment. And it can be confusing and it can be frustrating. You buy the wrong thing. It comes broken. You're returning. Yes, right? How do you use a Cricut machine? I want the vinyl labels. How's it work? So we actually started a virtual service so that we can have people call. You can either do a virtual guidance where you do a FaceTime type of situation, or you can send us your space and your plan for it, who's using it, any questions, what you're running into, and our team will send back what we call a curated product plan and tell you what baskets, what bins.
Oh, that's great. I'm guessing that's cheaper than the in-house.
Yeah. So it's still very much DIY. Like you're doing it yourself, but it's this amazing support.
But you're given the system.
Yes. And it helps you get through those periods of, I don't know, I give up, and picking product, it's like kind of like interior design. You're like, oh, I bet I could do that. Then you get in there. oh, how high is that? How wide should that be? I don't know. That doesn't look right. So it's helpful to have someone with that professional eye who's done it for years to be able to say, oh, it's just one small tweak.
It's hard to know where to put things.
Yeah.
And what to do with it. Like my sister-in-law is an organizer. She's a professional organizer. So she's done different parts of our house and it's so nice. I think I need a refresh, but I think we're moving soon. So I'm like,
It's exciting to be potentially moving.
Yeah, we need a bigger space at this point.
Yeah.
But I love having my space organized, but sometimes keeping it up is like a little bit difficult and things get put in different places. And then especially if you have like people cleaning your house, things don't get put back. And so it's like...
Well, and so this was the dilemma that we started with when Graceful Spaces first started. We realized, like I said, it's multiple spaces and it's also taking a holistic view of the house. Say, where should this really be? And an example would be like medicine, like Tylenol and Benadryl. If you don't take a holistic look at the house and say, this is our medicine area for everybody. This is where medicine sits. If you don't do that, then you end up with half a Benadryl bottle here, an empty Benadryl bottle there. And then you're like, where is this? I need it. So we, when we do a in-home project, we map out the whole house or all the spaces we're going to do to decide where are those zones going to be. Travel zones, medicine zones, like things that kind of can disperse through the house and then end up with that question. Games, toys, all that kind of stuff. So, that helps a lot with that sustainability and the question of where does it go and other people helping to keep it up. So
for sure. Right now, our medicine area is in our hallway. Like we have a zone for it. Like we have like a drawer for it. But my son can get into it. And he's not doing it right now, but he was a little while ago. He would literally take medicine by himself. And we were like, Dino, what are you doing? Like I found him, he was upstairs. We were downstairs. He was upstairs. He was really quiet. And we were like, what's Dino doing? He has to be up to something. He was upstairs in our bathroom taking liquid ibuprofen.
Oh, that's scary.
And we were like, how much did you just take? Like, we need to know. And he showed us. And I was like, Justin, like, luckily, like, that's
not a big
an amount for like an infant. Like, he's going to be okay. But he's done it multiple times with like more natural stuff. And we were like, you cannot take this by yourself. Like, it is not safe for you to just take this medication. Like, it could be harmful. Like, we know that you take supplements and all things like that, and that's okay. But like, please don't take it by yourself. Like, for some reason, he like wants to do it and he wants to get in.
Sounds like a very independent little gentleman.
Yes, but like now he can get into our medicine cabinet. Like he opens the thing and he opens it up and he starts rummaging through.
Can you put it up high?
I don't know where else to put it because it's in a drawer and up high is like a shelf and we'd like never.
Well, what you could do, this is my disclaimer. This is not true childproofing, but I had found those command strips that have the Velcro. If you line your drawers on both sides of those and then shut the drawer, it takes a really good little pull to open it. He'd
figure it out.
He'd figure it out. Usually it'll
He can open the baby proofing stuff.
Well, I had two that were 12 months apart. One would come up with the idea and the other was really athletic and could execute the idea pretty easily. And so I tell them all the time, it was very common to find them dancing on a table somewhere. Like, what are you doing? It's true. Like all the baby proofing in the world still.
Well, he can open the baby gate. He can open we have two different kinds of baby gates. He can open both of them. He can unlock one of them. He can get into like the cabinets. They all have both like double pronged. He can open it with a double prong easily, goodness. Like everything. And I'm
so you're just busy. And now he's going to get a partner in crime.
Now he's going to open it with for my daughter.
Yeah. And now he's got an audience for it. So it's going to be really fun.
But we have to figure out I need to figure out another spot for the medicine because it's too low.
Well, you could also consider getting something that locks, like a bin that locks or something that he can't get into. So it's still low, but I
have nowhere to put that. I don't have space. It's another problem, but we're going to move soon. So maybe I'll just, anyway, it's just an example of.
Well, Well, it's true. I mean, like how we live in our home it matters and it's hard sometimes.
Yes.
And that's where, even if you are someone who is super organized, life throws things at you that you then need to intentionally reevaluate.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes having a life coach or a professional organizer or just a friend come in with a fresh perspective and say,
like, this is what you need to do.
This? Because we get in our thought patterns that are the same, because it's always been that way. So one trick that I really love about home organizing is if you have a space that you're editing where you're letting go of things you don't need anymore, pulling the items out of the space is insanely helpful because your brain no longer associates that item with the room that it was in, especially clothes, because you've always seen it there. So your brain just says, no, it's supposed to be there. You love that. But if you pull it into the kitchen, a room that like you probably don't see all your closet items in, your brain will have this fresh perspective and you can have a more critical eye on editing.
Whether or not you want to keep it. So that wouldn't work for like a bedroom. Like, you can't bring it into your bedroom?
You could.
Or you could.
You could. I like the drama, like the drastic difference of a space that you'd never see it in. But you could definitely take it into your bedroom. I think that your bedroom is still that same intimate place. You still have the same like emotional feelings when you cross into your bedroom that you're in that space. But a kitchen is very different. It'd be the same. If you pull out your pantry, if you could do it in your dining room instead of your kitchen, you're probably more likely to be a little more ruthless. Good too.
I love editing. I love getting rid of stuff. It's like one of my favorite things to do. I love going through and like, you know what? I don't want this anymore.
Yes. Ask my girls. When we are getting ready to move, we made the decision since we've just recently moved to send the girls to Graham's mom's house. And so they have said quite frequently, we're moving, but we're going to be living our best lives with Nana while you guys move. And normally I want them to be involved in the move. And normally I want them to experience the strategy behind it and even the stress, because it's important to know you'll get through this. But we just did it. And so they're going to go there. But their big request is don't throw anything out. Set it aside for me. I will. Well, a little bit of trauma there.
Don't edit my stuff. My mom held on to everything. And when she passed away, we hired organizers to come in and help us. Because there was so much stuff. My sister and I looked at each other and we were like, what do we do with all of this stuff? Like, her house was quite large. She had something in every nook and cranny.
It's so common.
She kept so much stuff from our childhood. We were just like, why is this here?
Yeah, it's unfortunately so common. But speaking of kids and editing, something that we have found is that it is so important to teach children to edit. And while I joke about them having to get rid of stuff, I think it's a very important life skill that they need to learn.
How do you teach them to edit?
So for little kids, what we do is have a treasure drawer. It's a place that they can bring all the Chick-fil-A toys or all the papers or whatever it is that they like, the things that we're pretty prone to like toss straight in the trash.
Which is what I do.
Squishies that they're like sticky, and then I call them like lint traps because they just get disgusting.
That sounds
gross.
But
they mean something to the kids. So having a treasure drawer or a treasure bin where they can put those things. But then when it starts getting filled, now they start learning the concept of we're at a capacity, we're at a room. And so now we need to work within the boundaries that we have and take out the things that are no longer serving us or no longer resonating. And so you start teaching this concept of there's only so much space and we don't need to overflow to another drawer. We need to evaluate what's in our life. And this applies to our habits and our friendships, our everything in life, right? But we need to take it out and we need to look at it. And oftentimes we find, just like our earlier conversation, that some of these things that meant something in the moment just served a short period of time. Yeah. And they were important and they deserved that space to go in the drawer and be called a treasure, but they're not a treasure forever. And so I think the life skill of being able to look and evaluate, does this thing still belong in my life, is a huge lesson for things and people and relationships and habits and all of that.
That's
and
really
so
good one.
The treasure drawer is just kind of a great way to respect them, know like we understand, but also we got to evaluate here. And if you want to put more stuff in, you got to let go of some stuff.
What about like toys? Because I only have so much space for toys.
Yeah.
And I find that like people are always constant. Like I rarely buy my kids toys. Yeah. People are just constantly giving us stuff. And I'm like, space for this.
Yeah.
Should I let what's something to implement with kids to get rid of toys, not just like treasures? Like how do you would you use the same type of
Similar. Yes, similar. So I would, but it's a little harder on with toys in a playroom. So you could so in the beginning, I would say sharing with people that you're not Goodwill, that you're not accepting everything can sometimes be helpful. Like, we have a lot. Thank you so much. Is there someone else who can benefit? Is a hard thing to say, but once you start getting in the practice of like, thank you for donating your toys to us, but we're set. Can I help you find a place? Could help not even bring it in the first place.
Well, they're usually like gifts.
That is different. So gifts we have birthdays in June, which is so nice. That back-to-back birthday thing plays really well with halfway to Christmas. So we'll always edit prior to the big event. And that's really helpful to say something big is coming. And you're going to have these new things. So let's make space for the new things that are coming. And it works a little easier when they're older. But even when they're little, they start to know, like, Santa's coming, your birthday's coming. Let's make space for these special things.
What things do you not want anymore?
Yeah. And then for the things you don't want, even assigning value to where that's going. A lot of kids really do enjoy knowing not just that it's getting donated, but where is it going? So it could be that you've identified a family that you know you could give to. You've identified an organization that is accepting those types of things that you could involve your kids with and share with them. This is our way of being able to give back. Kids really resonate that, just like they want to help with cleaning and cooking. They may not fully get it, but you're introducing a concept of generosity and also the helping with the feeling of, I don't need to hoard everything. I don't need to hold anything. And that too, just like things, it expands to your feelings. It expands to your relationships. It expands to so much more.
And it's just one small thing. You make it about that, but it's about so much more.
Yeah. So I think it's just the concept of letting go. And it's so funny because we did get that puppy and there are things that they're teaching us. And one of the things is like, if you're teaching your dog to not be possessive of its food, means when your dog is eating, you walk by and offer something that's more valuable. And then your dog realizes that it doesn't have to hoard this food because something better is always, another thing better may come along at any point. And I think it's the same thing in life. Sometimes when we think this is the best that I'll ever have, I can't let this toy go. I can't let this thing go in my life. So I don't know, maybe that's taking it too far, but I think I've seen that play out.
No, but it's like a lesson. It's not. It's just a lesson about life. It's not really about the toy.
I think when people hold on to things, they're afraid. It's usually out of fear.
Well, you don't want to let it
something
go.
Better. Yeah, fear that it's not because this is the most valuable thing and I use it every day and I love it. It's if I lose this, something better won't come, or is this not going to fill the void, or
I might not get something better because they may not feel like they're worthy of something better, right? So they think that they need to hold on to something so tightly. Right. They're also afraid of change, so they don't want things to change. Yeah. I mean, there are so many different.
So I'm a big proponent of editing, and I know that with kids, I wouldn't go into the session saying, "Hey, let's edit together at 3 years old, and you're gonna successfully get rid of everything in your room that you don't need." But I do think you do it because the first round of doing it. Well, so when girls are little, I would do the first round, trash, like full trash, broken, like. We don't need to spend our energy together on this. Then I would have them come in and start talking about, what do you need? What really makes you happy? What do you really play with? And
would you ever give a number of like how many toys you want to give away?
Yeah, that's really helpful because you have a goal. It's also really helpful to have a maybe bin. So, and this is helpful for adults too. Like when you're kind of stuck, you get decision fatigue after a little while, or those
you don't know what to do. I like that maybe bin.
If it's a maybe bin, and then come back to the maybe bin, and 9 times out of 10,
give that stuff away.
Yeah, you just needed a little permission instead of a force of I have to let go of this. And so by loosening the pressure, giving the permission, making it their decision, but not putting it back. Like the decision isn't, sorry, you don't want to, you're not sure, so we put it back where it belongs. It's kind of like editing in another space. It's like, let it sit there for a little bit and see if you really want to put it back. Another really great thing that helps with adults and children is pull everything out and don't make decisions on what you want to get let go of first. Put everything you love back in. And then see what you want to add. But a lot of times when you see everything you love and you need, you don't want to add anymore. You realize that you have everything you need and that this is enough. And that same concept and fear of like, if I give things away, that I'm not going to have anything left. Start by putting in what you love, see that it's enough. And then it's much easier to let go of all of those things that, you don't need anymore. You don't love anymore. So
yeah,
a lot of different ways to approach it. I think that it's helpful to take some of these concepts and write down the ideas and then determine consciously what applies to you and your situation. Because just like everything in life, whether it's healing from something or going through something difficult or editing, organizing, there's a million ideas of what you can do. And you do need to sit down and say, okay, which ones of these are resonating? And not just resonating, but which ones are actually possible given my life and my situation. So that's kind of how I've always approached it at different times.
It's a great way to approach it.
Another one that's helpful is on the front end. So with the girls, I have found for clothes, we go shopping in seasons. And I've started doing this for myself too. So in the spring and in the fall, we do a big shop, which is really fun. And it's complete. Like we look for outfits. We do top to bottom and we know exactly what we need. Prior to going on that shopping trip, we edit out the closet. What doesn't fit, what's broken, what's damaged.
What do you not want anymore?
Right. And pull it out. And then we count. Okay, so how many days a week? What are our lifestyle? So we need approximately 3 pairs of jeans, 12 pairs of shorts, whatever it is, count up what we have. That means we need to go buy 3 shorts, 1 pair of jeans, 4 tops, and we write that down. So then when we go shopping, we're going with a goal in mind of what do we really need to create a well-rounded closet versus, oh, that's cute. I love that. And not to say we don't do that and that's not fun, but we go with intention. And then after that's done, I can walk away from that saying they have everything they need. Anything we buy outside of these big seasonal shopping sessions are an extra. So it's easier to make the decision as a parent. Do you really need that? Are you like, am I a bad parent? Do you not have pants? Like, no, I know you're good. I know we bought everything you needed.
Yeah.
So this is a gift. This is above and beyond.
That's good for kids.
Yeah. Or you have to buy that yourself because I know that you have everything. That being said, I know my children and everyone around me. I love shopping. So I'm not holding this boundary hard and fast, but it does give me the peace of mind to know I'm consciously making the decision to do extra than
what they actually need.
Feeling like I'm making it out. A scared emotion.
I think it's a little harder to do for like adults because there's always more that I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can go in and be like, I'm getting rid of this, this, and this. But like, do I really need to replace that or do I want something different?
Right.
I don't know. It's a little more complicated because like you also go through there are like different styles that come out, right? And you like want to like explore different things that you didn't even have.
Yeah, it's so true. I think it might work for me because I'm pretty, I wouldn't say basic. That's not the right word, but obviously I'm pretty neutral in my color palette and everything. I don't know. It works. It might work in seasons too, where there's seasons we feel like we need more creativity with how we show up in the world. And there's other seasons where
you don't.
Yeah. So
agreed. I mean, it's a good system to like keep in mind.
It's not for everybody, that's for sure.
But it's a good place to start.
What I love about sharing ideas and listening to other people share how they do things is it's a springboard to think differently.
For
so you don't have to take this concept and idea, but you could say, that doesn't work for me, but the idea prompted a new idea in my mind and we're going to try something new. I am very much an idea generator. I love coming up with new ways of looking at things and new ways of thinking about them. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Do you have any more tips that you can think of off the top of your mind?
I think that my biggest thing in life is being honest about the season you're in, honest about your capacity, and then deciding what to intentionally do with that capacity and with that season. For myself, for my team, for my friends, I think I see in this fast-paced world, do more, take on more. And then we walk away with this constant list of never-ending to-dos. And we constantly feel like we've never done enough. And so when I step back and say, whether that's my space, my life, my capacity, my emotional resources, whatever it is, what's really happening in life right now, what's really calling my name, what do I really have time for, and make intentional choices, it helps me so much. And knowing that it's not forever, kind of defining a boundary of I'm moving. So from now until probably end of school, this is a new way of operating. I'm going to think about things differently in June. We'll make a new plan for the rest of the summer. So when I think about it like that, or I think about, when I think in seasons and apply it to my work, my family, my emotions, my routines, and our things in our house. It's a lot easier. Yeah. It's a lot easier for me to not feel like I'm taking on everything all at once. And so I think
I love that.
My most important lesson in life.
I want to ask one more thing before we wrap.
Yeah.
If you could go back and tell something to your younger self, what would it be?
If I can go back and talk to my younger self, I think I would tell myself to slow down and just be, it's so cliche, but be in the moment more and be present more, and not be looking for the next thing, be excited for the next thing, but live in the thing I'm sitting in right there and enjoy it and take it slower.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think as kids, we always want to grow up. We're like in a rush to like be older. Like somebody asked my kid how old he is. Like, I'm 4. And it's like, you're not 4 yet.
Yeah.
Like, but I remember doing the same thing. I like always wanted to be older. And now I'm like, I don't want to be older.
Yeah.
I want to be in the age that I'm in. I don't want to get older. I want to stay young.
Yes.
And like, you wish that you could tell them that.
I so agree. And I think whether it's something when we're trying to get to the next exciting thing or we're trying to get out of the uncomfortable thing, we're just always trying to move to the next thing. But when we find there's beauty in all of it. And one of the things when I've started a side piece of Graceful Spaces called Graceful Living. And it's just kind of like your no matcha, no mommy, mama, a place to show up and just share with the world and inspire and put out what is in my mind. My kind of what came up for me was finding joy in the midst of uncertainty. And I think that applies to everything. And whether you're in a boring moment, a crisis moment, a hard moment, or a joyful, exciting moment, being present in that, there's something beautiful in all of that. There's joy in all of that, but it takes intentional focus
for sure
to find that, especially in the harder times or the boring times. So I would tell myself to slow down and learn to find that earlier on.
I love that. Yeah. I'm going to end with a little prayer.
Yeah.
May we carry what we need, release what we don't, and stay open to the magic that is still unfolding. Thank you for sipping your matcha and sharing your heart with me today.
Cheers. It was so wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to No Matcha, No Mama. If you love the episode, share with a friend, leave a review, or come say hi. My Instagram is at DINADL, and you can find me on TikTok at No Matcha, No Mama. If you want to connect with my amazing guest, Christina Lee, you can find her on Instagram at Graceful Spaces Organizing, and her website is just Graceful Spaces. They offer a variety of services from in-house to virtual. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube or my Spotify or Apple, all of them. I would so appreciate it. And remember, thriving takes intention. See you next time.